this Prevention of Terrorism Act is being continuously abused in order, once again, fabricate evidence and punish people who have not been siding with the executive, as at that time it was a different issue. Now there is a different head of state, different hodgepodge government, but still an assurance has been given to the international community. Honorable Presiding Member, today we are discussing the motion that has been placed by the government on the order paper for the removal of the chairman of the Public Utilities Commission. Now, as a matter of procedure, in the first place, I want to bring to a notice that this is the first time that this House is resorting to this procedure of removal of an independent commission's chairman. Now, we have had in the recent past government finding fault with many chairmen of independent commissions. The chairman of the Election Commission, the chairman of the Human Rights Commission, the chairman of the chairman of the Public Utilities Commission, all have now fallen out of favor with the government, and there had been clear intimidation and harassment of these chairmen to leave their positions voluntarily, or otherwise an alternative action would be taken. And this is in order to facilitate that move to fulfill the wish of the executive, that whoever who is a commission's, independent commission chairman, if he goes against the wishes of the executive, then this sort of procedure will be adopted. So now, first of all, Parliament has no procedure that had been, Parliament has not devised the procedure. We know when they sought to remove the Chief Justice, once again, new rules had to be adopted. So similarly, in this case, standing orders had to be amended, and the proper opportunity has been given to the chairman to defend himself. Now, there is no procedure that has been laid down in our standing orders. Therefore, I bring to the notice through you to the Speaker that we have to first lay down the procedure so that a fair opportunity will be given to the person who is sought to be removed, to be heard in his defense. And without doing that, I think this is very unfortunate. So I am not going to hold a candle to these chairmen. They are all at one time cronies of the government. And that is why they were preferred to be appointed as chairman. Therefore, I do not want to defend the chairman here, but of course, he in fact had tried to defend the rights of the consumers, and that is why he is now being sought to be removed by the executive's arbitrary decision. So therefore, I would bring that and just flag that issue. And I don't want to go into those details since I have very limited time. I want to raise another important issue. Now, this government has given a promise. Now, there is this case of Hijaz Hizbullah, who has been a civic rights defender in the country, who had been charged for having been involved in terrorist activities, and he had been in remand for more than 20 months, and subsequently has now come out on bail. Now, there had been several fundamental rights cases also had been filed. There was another connected case of Ahnaz Nazim, a poet. He also was remanded and had been kept under custody under the Prevention of Terrorism Act. Now, this Prevention of Terrorism Act is being continuously abused in order, once again, fabricate evidence and punish people who have not been siding with the executive, as at that time it was a different issue. Now there is a different head of state, different hodgepodge government, but still an assurance has been given to the international community in Geneva that the PTA, there will be a moratorium on the PTA. But violating that, now recently there had been 4 people who have been arrested under the PTA, with the motive to prevent those people being listed as witnesses in a defense case, for the defense in the case of Mr. Hizbullah. Now, I would like to highlight this case of one Mr. Asana Marikkar and Abu Bakr Siddiq, Muhammad Anas and Jusair Jabir. I dare say that the CID has produced produced them and have remanded them under the PTA with the sole motive of intimidating and harassing them in order to create another fabrication against Mr. Hezbollah. Now this issue, there have been several details. I think we'll have to take it up with the President. This is why we say the Attorney General's Department should...
Please wind up, Honourable Member.
While being the advisor to the government, should have a separate Director of Public Prosecutions. Now they are acting for the whim and fancy of, or so for some fancy reason of the CID, they are now trying to create fabricated evidence against these innocent people in courts. And I would rather say that this is a serious violation of the witnesses' right, and then this is in order to intimidate the witnesses and then bring pressure on them to give evidence or rather fabricate and start photographing with the witnesses in a trial that is pending. And this is also particularly because there was a fundamental rights case that was heard and leave was granted.
Please
and there the bench had very taken a very tough stand about the way in which minors have been treated in this case. And therefore, after that, as an afterthought, Attorney General Department and the CID are conspiring to again fabricate evidence in this case. And therefore, I would like to highlight this issue and that this should be taken up at the right places and resolved finally. And I also I would like to bring this to the notice. There is also this issue of...
Honourable Member, please wind up.
One more matter. There is an issue of Lawyers for Lawyers, who is a human rights advocacy group, who have also complained to the Attorney General that they must withdraw this.
You have 9 minutes.